Welcome to our good spooky household. I'm Meeka Nomicon, and we're going to be exploring the horrors of employment in Welcome to the Karoshi Club. How did your job interview go today? Oh, well, thank you for asking. I think it went swimmingly. Oh, I appear to be incorrect. We seem rather down in the dumps, don't we? I'm gonna guess we didn't get the job. Is it really necessary for everyone to be watching me on my bad day? I mean, 10 TV is just facing me. I feel so judged. Day 2616. Wait, is that how long I've been unemployed for? Oh man, it's been years! The frosty timbre of a woman's voice emanated from the device. Greetings. Slight disarray invaded me, prompting a befuddled greeting in return. Hello? The unidentified voice persisted. I am Hitomi Takemitsu, representing Kinyo Industry as a recruiter. A dialogue was scheduled for this time with Mr. Takeshi concerning an interview with our firm. May I confirm? Is this Mr. Takeshi with whom I am conversing? Wait, if you're looking for Mr. Takeshi, why are you phoning a payphone? Is this serendipity bestowing a gift upon me? It has spanned months since my employment ceased. My search for new employment has been steeped in desperation, yet futile. I've remained barred from even reaching the interview phase. Desperation has only swelled with every refusal. Dare I seize this unexpected opportunity? Dare I masquerade as Mr. Takeshi to garner an interview? But what then of the real Mr. Takeshi? And of my fate, should my deceit be unveiled? My musing was interrupted by the individual on the line. Excuse me, are you present? I am unable to detect your voice. Can you confirm if this is Mr. Takeshi? A subtle undertone of annoyance permeated the woman's voice. Time was evaporating. A decision was imperative. You see, I don't think it's a matter of if they'll discover the truth, but when. Because let's face it, if we go to this interview and then get the job, when we fill out all our information and bank details, it's gonna be obvious that we're not actually Takeshi, right? I mean, none of that information is gonna match up. Then again, maybe they'll appreciate my, determination for the job. Also, I'm pretty sure truth is gonna end the game right here, so we're gonna lie about it. Yes, this is Mr. Takeshi. I apologize for the delay. Acceptable. Ensure you recall our prior agreement that I would return your call post-review of your curriculum vitae. Commendations are in order. The superiors found your qualifications favorable. Hence, an interview has been arranged for you. Clearly, this Mr. Takeshi possesses noteworthy skills. Fortuity graces me, bestowing such a fortunate instance in time and space. Oh, thank you very much. That was the sole utterance I could muster as a reply. Kindly present yourself at our office, detailed in the following address today. 111 Tsukiji Shuko, Tokyo. A personal discussion regarding the sales specialist role awaits you. Wait, sales specialist? I can probably do that, right? It doesn't sound like it needs too much of a technical qualification. Farewell, Mr. Takeshi. Yes, goodbye. Remarkably, I've accomplished it. A first interview, following a lengthy, barren few months. Well, if we're being perfectly honest, Takeshi accomplished it. We're just filling his space. And in our defense, what kind of fool tells the employer to phone them on the payphone and then not wait by the payphone? I think this is all Takeshi's fault to begin with. I am not to blame. My apologies linger, Mr. Takeshi. Albeit, for unknown reasons, you did not answer your call. Fortuitous luck, it appears, holds significance in the job-seeking voyage. Wait, I've had a very bad thought. Okay, so what was it Mr. Takeshi doesn't exist? And this is literally like an employment strategy of that firm. They'll just phone a payphone, ask for Mr. Takeshi to offer him a job. Hopefully that someone like us will answer and just take them up on it and lie about it. So what was it? It's like some like sacrificial job. I'm gonna get murdered if I arrive there. That would be unfortunate. The only remaining hurdle is to navigate through a successful interview. Provided they do not expound me upon uncovering my falsehood. Some time later. Boarding the subway, my mind swirled in the vortex of imminent interview. An oppressive fear burgeoned within. Fear of unmet expectations. Fear of error. Fear of initial perceptions. Fear of refusal. Fear of rivals. Fear of the unfamiliar. And apparently, fear for the future. What does the future reserve for me? Merely slumbering once at my former employment has thrust me into nearly a year's endeavour of job hunting. Anxiety and fear have manifested as persistent shadows, ever present in my journey. Did you catch the latest? That doofus isn't waving the white flag yet. My despairing contemplations of job-seeking's stark reality were interrupted by the casual dialogue of two women. He's tossed his resume back in the ring. No way! He seriously thinks they'll give him a shot. What's this? His sixth swing at it? It seems they discourse about another individual similarly mired in futile job seeking. Their discussion exasperates my own apprehensions. He's the kicker. He's smacked down every time with just a one word no. And oh, keeping a straight face each time. It's a workout. What do you say we place bets on when this loser throws his hat in again? Does he get that with his track record? He's not even scrubbing floors there. With her rhetorical question, she succumbs to laughter. Her companion joins in, equally derisive in mirth. A bewildering unease envelops me. Overhearing such dialogue is far from the mental preparation I sought prior to the impending interview. Self-doubt accelerates my heartbeat. Panic looms menacingly close. My surroundings begin to oscillate before my eyes. Desperation for stability, something steadfast consumes me. Even a moment's surrender would see me crumpled on the subway floor. Composure is imperative. A surge of nervousness compelled me to retrieve my resume. I scrutinized it, weighing my prospects anew. Attempting to conjure positive thoughts, my mind is infiltrated by even graver considerations than before. Is my current opportunity genuinely merited? Well, no, it was never intended for us to begin with, so... But we've got it anyway, that's what we need to focus on. It's mere luck, isn't it? Is this job truly necessary for me? Should I withdraw before potentially faltering? Is further experience necessary? Is previous rejection rooted in this? Am I deserving of employment? Am I adept for a role as a sales specialist? Questions mercilessly bore into my mind, yearning for answers. Answers I desperately require to all these queries. Well, the way I see it, we're kind of committed, right? We're in this deep. We might as well go through with it. What's the worst that could happen? They find out I lied. They chuck me out of the interview. But they can't even blacklist me because we haven't told them our actual name. So it shouldn't be too bad, right? Just lie and escape. Worst case scenario. Let's continue. Indeed. I am primed for new employment. Undoubtedly prepared to face any forthcoming hurdle. After all, my search for a position has spanned nearly an entire year. Surely, a duration ample enough to secure a role with any organization. The key lies in merely procuring an interview. Thereafter, retaining the position will assuredly be less formidable, providing we don't sleep on the job again. I possess the capability. I have the mettle. They cannot reject me now, especially having extended an invitation for an interview. Can they? I shall attain what I desire, through whatever means necessary. The train has arrived. Lost in reflections of whether my skills were sufficient, I scarcely noticed my arrival at the designated spot. There I was, dwarfed by the towering, multi-tiered office structure. It cast a modern shadow over its antiquated adjacent building. The vast glass panes caught the sun's rays, shimmering warmly. Could it be that I might find my place within these walls? Joining a large corporation has long been a dream of mine. I pondered what experiences lay beyond these formidable facades. Memories of the past began to sketch out visions of my potential workdays. Within, the pulse of daily commerce thrummed unseen. Someone, surely, was lingering over a fresh pot of coffee, exchanging words on the mundane. Others might be queuing for their turn on the communal printer, a bottleneck in their efficient day. And perhaps one or two sought refuge in a bathroom cubicle, stealing moments of respite. Such trivialities once wove the fabric of my own days. Now, amidst a job hunt stretching nearly a year, a sense of duality plagued me. Had I truly lived before this interlude, or had I diminished to a mere spectre of a former vitality? Eagerly, I anticipated stepping inside to soak in the ambience, if only for a moment. Observing the edifice and steeling myself for the forthcoming challenge, a tall girl's approach caught the corner of my eye. Hello, you must be Mr. Takeshi, I presume. I guess this is the representative from Kinyo Industry. It's critical now to maintain the facade I've crafted. Yes, I am Mr. Takeshi. Okay. Is it just me, or does she seem distinctly unimpressed with me? Her gaze pierces me with a glint of skepticism. Anxiety surges within me, fearful of my ruse crumbling to dust. Mr. Takeshi. Yes? A shiver of foreboding courses through me. I trust you found our location without trouble? Relief floods in, deflating the tension. Absolutely. No issues at all. I appreciate your... She cuts off my gratitude mid-sentence. You're not really Mr. Takeshi, are you? The jig is up. This is the end of the line. You've seen through me. What now? The situation remains as it is. Your actual name? But I misled you. Our firm values drive and ambition. Additionally, Mr. Takeshi has been unreachable. Hence, we're willing to consider you for the position. That's not sketchy at all. I'm still betting on Mr. Takeshi never existed to begin with. You are? Haishima. Kenjai Haishima. Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Haishima. Follow me, please. My mind reels from the turn of events. Awesome. What's going on with the eye on her hand? Is that a tattoo or something supernatural? Maybe we just got a third eye. And don't think I didn't know the sunflower animal. Here I stand, having deceived my way through the door, displacing Mr. Takeshi, yet opportunity still knocks. Has my string of luck not yet frayed to its end? So be it. I'll ride this wave as far as it will carry me. Employment is the prize, and I must seize it before anyone else, Takeshi included. As I shadowed Ms. Takemitsu, a sense of unease crept in. Abruptly, it dawned on me that our destination wasn't the towering structure I had envisioned. Rather, Miss Takemitsu was guiding me towards its neighbor, a dated, robust 8-story edifice. But why? Where was this dream of a sleek, contemporary workspace? Miss Takemitsu, shouldn't we be heading to the other building? No. Her response was brief and somewhat sharp. Should you succeed in the interview, this will be your place of work. My heart sank with disillusionment. The fancy of a chic new office had been fleeting. Nevertheless, I braced myself to reconcile with this stark reality. Well, a job's a job, I suppose. As we stepped into the elevator, the ascent to the upper echelons of the building began. Destination, the interview suite high above, where my future hung in the balance. With each floor passed, my heartbeat quickened, a crescendo of nerves. The confined space, the sterile glow of the elevator lights only fueled my growing dread. Retreat seemed more appealing with each passing moment. The sluggish climb skyward did little to calm my fraying nerves. Miss Takemitsu, is it always this slow going up? The elevator is rather dated. Patience is required. Wait, how dated are we talking? As in, potential breakdown and crash to the floor dated? Oh, I see, thank you. Her assurance offered no solace. The ticking clock became my adversary. Each tick a loud echo of the time slipping away. Mr. Haishima, on our way up, might you share a bit about your life outside of work? About my personal life? Well, there's not much to tell, really. I moved away from where I grew up and kinda lost touch with my parents. And work, well, it used to take up most of my time. Never really got around to the whole marriage and kids thing. I guess I always thought my career should come first, and the rest would sort itself out eventually. I see. Her reaction was non-committal, inscrutable. Had she hoped for a different portrait of my life? A fabrication involving a family, perhaps? And what of leisure activities? Is she probing for a workaholic's confession, or generally intrigued by my life outside the office? Hobbies, huh? Well, to be honest, I haven't had much time for hobbies. Work was pretty much it. Improving my skills and staying on top of things, you know? Is that genuinely me? Lately, my pastimes have faded into the grey, the job and blurring days into a continuous loop. Have I been adrift in this limbo since the day I lost my job? Intriguing. Thank you. See, the cynical part of me wants to say she was probing to see if I would be missed. Well, I've got no outside connection, so if I were to, unfortunately, die in this job, no one's going to say anything. Miss Takemitsu's facade was a fortress, her emotions veiled. One could speculate on her true thoughts. But our exchange had its intended effect. The dialogue outpaced the journey, and before I knew it, we arrived. This way, please. We've arrived. Time for the interview. I stepped into the nondescript office, its familiarity a cold comfort. It was like every other room, a copy of countless others that punctuate the corporate world. Miss Takemitsu positioned herself behind the desk with an air of detachment. Please, take a seat. Sure, thanks. The pivotal moment had come. The dry spell in my career had been lengthy. This interview was a long-awaited break in the clouds. I couldn't afford to stumble now. The stakes were high. Questions loomed on the horizon of my mind. What could she ask? What should I say? Doubt about my qualifications nipped at me. Was I enough? A temptation to embroider my past tugged at me. But what if truth was the better gamble? Time dragged its feet, each second bloated and heavy. I played out potential scenarios, Miss Takemitsu's reactions shifting like quicksilver in my head, none quite settling right. My thoughts, usually my sanctuary, became a tempest, forecasting doom, painting me in the dreary light of future rejections. It was as if I had fast-forwarded to a future where I perpetually searched for work, a self-inflicted purgatory. But as anxiety threatened to overtake me, I pulled the brakes on the runaway train off my thoughts. Reality called me back. Miss Takemitsu was right there, the present a stark stage, waiting for my performance. Mr. Haishima, your presence here today for the sales specialist role is much appreciated. Shall we commence with the questions? Preparedness eluded me. Sure, I'm ready. Excellent. My first question. Where do you envision yourself in a century's time? A curveball question. In 100 years, the realm of impossibility, right? It was a given, an end to all, death, as certain for me as for all. Perplexed, I wondered at her aim. Perhaps this was a test of creative thinking. I decided to play along. A dash of humor might just do the trick. She doesn't strike me as the humorous type. Yes, I'll be the most seasoned expert around. By quite a few decades. Very well. Itomi's expression remained unreadable. Now, may I inquire why you parted ways with your last employer? I don't think they're going to be very happy if I say I fell asleep on the job. Unless I was just overworking myself. I feel like she might be able to tell I'm lying, but we're going to lie anyway. The truth was precarious ledge, best to construct a narrative that absolved me. Let it be an external circumstance, uncontrollable, unforeseeable. Wait, I've just realised this is going to end badly for us. Won't they be able to contact our last employer and find out the truth? Okay, have I got a way of technically telling the truth without outright saying it? The thing is, the company's funds dried up, and it just folded. I suppose that's a decent way of getting out her contacting them. I really enjoyed my time there, actually. Made some great mates, and had a boss who was pretty decent. But, you know, all things come to a close eventually. I like to think everyone landed on their feet, found new gigs. And the higher-ups hoped they settled any debts they had. For me, it was just the right push to explore seeing different. Fingers crossed she takes that well. I've shifted the spotlight away from any faults of mine, highlighted the positives about past colleagues and the company. Maybe this shows I'm a team player, someone who speaks positively of others. Okay. Huh. Your employment gap is noteworthy. Please explain its length. You know what? I'm just gonna do a run where I lie about everything. They seem to like me lying, okay? They gave me the interview because I lied. Let's lie again. How do I appear in her eyes, I wonder? Perhaps it's time to cast a little value on my sabbatical. Well, you see, I was in quite a predicament with a surplus of options. Decided to hold off on jumping into the next role right away. Thought I'd take a breather, you know, recharge and focus on personal growth. That little break, well, it stretched out longer than I expected. Stumbled upon this opportunity somewhat serendipitously. And I figured, hey, why not give this a shot? I hope that didn't come off too strong. Seems like a reasonable enough explanation, doesn't it? Success in this interview would lead you to the position of sales specialist. Can you tell me about any experience you have in sales? Well, is it technically a lie if I don't know what our previous job was? We might have experience. I doubt it, but we might. Time to think of my feet. Fingers crossed she's not a gamer. Well, it's not traditional sales, but I did contribute to a project that saw impressive numbers. I had this concept, a courier sim in a post-apocalyptic setting. It was offbeat, but it caught on. Sales exceeded expectations, and there was a bit of a buzz. Some people even called me genius. This is a gamble. Hopefully, it'll catch your attention. What sort of critical decisions were demanded of you in your previous positions? Could you detail the most strenuous challenge you encountered professionally? Again, we are lying our way through this entire interview. Truth be told, I've skirted such trials. Yet, I've witnessed peers in the throes of such predicaments. Perhaps it's my turn to don their mantle, entail at least. I've been tasked with some oversight responsibilities on occasion. Specifically, handling various administrative problems. This also meant the unfortunate duty of letting employees go. There was an instance where it fell upon me to release 100 individuals. The act of looking in their eyes, understanding their plight, it was beyond daunting. That was undeniably the most burdensome decision I've had to execute. Indeed, the greatest challenge of my career thus far. Irony cuts deep, for it's always been me awaiting the dreaded news, not dispensing it. You know, when I said to lie, I was hoping we'd keep the lies a little bit more believable, close to the truth. I feel like these lies are going to cause us issues. Very well. It's common for unexpected developments to disrupt our schedules. Such instances may necessitate an employee's presence beyond regular hours. Your stance on overtime? Well, I'm probably going to lie and say I'm all for it. I'll live at the office. Her question is a hook, baited for a specific answer. My perspective is to always consider the organization's needs. The nature of existence is chaotic, making it difficult to adhere to even the most basic timelines. This is amplified within a business context. I am prepared to allocate additional personal hours to ensure the company's smooth operation. Honestly, work and my private time are synonymous. Considering the absence of any significant personal engagement, my assertion was surprisingly forthright. Yeah, I was just thinking that. That's probably not a lie, considering we were saying work was our life to begin with. We've noted your perspective. There are individuals who due to insufficient income, opt to take on multiple jobs and simultaneously. Your views on juggling multiple employment roles? What will they lie this time? Perhaps a touch of embellishment is called for. This scenario is not unfamiliar to me. There was a period when I simultaneously contributed to 3 different organizations. To some, this might sound overwhelming. Nevertheless, I succeeded in augmenting the productivity of each. Yeah, no, our lies are far too embellished. Immersed in a continuous state of flow, I tackle challenges with relative ease. See, a problem is, this basically conflicts with our previous answer, right, of the overtime. I mean, you can't really do overtime for one job when you've got 3 jobs simultaneously. In my opinion, as long as it's within legal bounds and doesn't violate any existing employment agreements, such an arrangement can be beneficial rather than detrimental. May my response cast a favourable light on my capacity for adaptability and hard work. Understood. Here's my final query. Your earnings in sales may be closely tied to your bonus acquisition. What lengths would you go to ensure you receive it? Well, I would lie my way through an entire interview for it, so very, very far. An inquiry laced with implications. To what lengths indeed? Is mere competence no longer a benchmark? I'm committed to exerting all necessary efforts. It's less about the financial incentive and more about contributing to the company's success and my own growth as a professional. I welcome the challenges that accompany such goals, be it improving processes, meeting sales targets, or any other objectives set before me. Any other objectives? Her phrasing cloaks a deeper meaning, one that eludes my grasp. We've concluded our discussion. That completes our assessment for the sales specialist role. I have no further inquiries. May I ask about the next steps? I will now proceed to communicate the outcome. I failed, haven't I? So swiftly? Indeed. The dialogue has provided sufficient insight to determine your fit for our team. I was ready to cross any line. To weave a web of lies, if that's what it took. Downplay, if it would serve my purpose. At times, desperation is such the bargains with one's own conscience are off the table. It's as if you silence it. You convince yourself it's absent and do not what is necessary to secure your desires. Whether my tactics were fruit, only time would tell. Mr. Haishima, I appreciate the effort you've made to be here today. Imagine being thrust into an interview so suddenly. Was quite the shock. Fortuitous for you to have been here in Mr. Takeshi's stead. Is a matter of perspective. Perhaps it was Mr. Takeshi's misfortune that became my serendipity. Either way, I stood to gain. However, am I prepared for her verdict? You've performed admirably. Have I? We find your profile to be quite satisfactory. So, I'm pleased to inform you, you've secured the role of sales specialist at Kineo Industry. Did I succeed? Well, that surprises me as well, buddy. Her words lifted a weight off my shoulders. I felt an urge to leap with joy, to dance. It seemed unreal. Finally, the grueling quest for employment has concluded. Could I dare to feel hopeful once more? Right. I closed my eyes to savor the triumph, and that's when Miss Takemitsu spoke again. You're incredibly fortunate to join us, for we offer the finest conditions. We never demand overtime. Quite the opposite. We advocate for punctual departures, the ample rest. Huh? Blinking open my eyes, something in Miss Takemitsu's appearance seemed amiss. Was this reality, or merely my mind playing tricks? Meanwhile, she went on. Oh, damn! What happened to you? We provide regular bonuses and a variety of additional benefits. The company takes great care of our employees' well-being. Yeah, I can tell. It kind of turned you into a demon. Something was definitely off. With every word, her form altered further. But what stood before me moments ago, as Miss Takemitsu continued? Holy crap! What the hell are you? You won't regret joining our ranks. You'll find this place to be second home, with no desire to depart. What in the world? A grotesque creature loomed before me. This wasn't Miss Takemitsu. Had my cherished dream morphed into a nightmare? A scream erupted from within, as horror engulfed my senses. A monster! There's a monster here! Calm down, Mr. Hashima. Look at yourself. Are you talking about yourself? Apparently so. What did she imply? In a flurry, I glanced at my hands. They were swelling, stretching the fabric of my sleeves. An odd tingling on my forehead compelled me to touch it. What was this? Bumps? 2 of them? No, they're horns? I was metamorphosizing into a creature from a horror flick. What triggered this? Is this permanent? What on earth is happening? This isn't how this interview was meant to conclude. Have I lost my mind? Is this an inescapable nightmare? Did I never actually wake up? Thoughts raced chaotically, threatening to shatter my mind in their frenzy to escape. I could no longer fend off the encroaching madness and let out a cry. Ah! Oh, maybe I'm just imagining it all. Mr. Hashima! Mr. Hashima! Are you alright? What? My breaths were heavy. My chest heaved in search of air. Miss Takemitsu sat before me, utterly ordinary. You seemed distant after I announced your successful interview. So it was all a figment of my imagination. Was the fear of failure that profound? I'll notify the heads of sales. He is expecting you in the office. Please, go meet the team. It's early for your first day, yet a perfect time for introductions. The eerie vision of Miss Takemitsu as a repulsive creature lingered in my mind. Thank goodness, it was just a dream. Understood. Thank you. Miss Takemitsu directed me to the office. Stepping inside, I breathed a sigh of relief. I had made it. Turning to my new colleagues, I said, "Hey, I'm Genji." What do we reckon? I don't think it's all in our head. Okay, so I know there's 3 endings to this game. A good, a bad, and a neutral. We apparently already found the good. So I'm assuming the neutral is if we just tell the truth and say we're not who she's looking for. I apologize. There seems to be a mistake. Mr. Takeshi isn't present. My name is Hashima Kenjai. A palpable silence ensued, followed by my declaration. A brief interlude hung in the air before the woman responded. Peculiar indeed. Are you certain Mr. Takeshi is unavailable? I am, yes. Truthfully, I'm the only one here. I can feel the slip of what might be my lone opportunity for employment through my fingers. But to fabricate a lie seems amiss. May fortune favor Mr. Takeshi, wherever he may be. Well, farewell then. Halt! A query for you, Mr. Haishima. Is employment something you currently seek? Can it be? Is she genuinely considering offering me employment? Given that Mr. Takeshi failed to provide a response today, I might propose that you attempt an interview for the sales specialist role. Does such a proposal pique your interest? Are you kidding? Of course it does. This is the stuff of dreams. I must maintain composure and marshal my thoughts. Yes, my interest is indeed captivated. Then proceed to our office, utilizing the address I shall subsequently provide today. 111 Tsukiji Chuku, Tokyo. Acknowledged. I extend my gratitude. Farewell. Oh, I didn't actually expect to still get off with the job. Oh, okay then. I am curious then what telling the truth here would do, since they already know I'm not Takeshi. Does a resolution to that inquiry exist? In honesty, my knowledge reaches its limits. I am uncertain if I embody the right individual for the position. I harbor doubts about successfully navigating through the interview. My competencies remain under a cloud of ambiguity. The sole clarity lies in the understanding that without an attempt, success eludes me. Indeed, doubts may cloud my vision, but until an interview is secured, these worries, they stand as mere apparitions. My mind spins tales of anxieties, envisioning encountered problems. However, contending with the non-existent is a futile endeavor. Initially, I must secure an interview, and if I fail it, only then does the problem materialize in reality. And reality, it can be navigated through, negotiated. Well, she definitely seems friendlier towards her now we told the truth. Mr. Haishima, good to see you. Good to see you too. She greets with a professionalism that's almost curt. A niggling unease whispers to me beneath her formal veneer. It's that pang of being just another applicant, potentially a number in her quota. I sense a rehearsed quality to her cordiality, a practiced mask worn by necessity. It dawns on me, this is her routine, her daily armor against the world of revolving faces. How long has she been donning this persona? Does the weight of it ever press too heavily? When last did she cast it aside, if ever? Might the day arrive when the mask and the woman behind it merge irreversibly? Mr. Haishima, you seem preoccupied. Is there an issue? Oh, no. Just lost in thought for a moment. If you would, please, come this way. I take it back, she's definitely not impressed with us. We can proceed with our discussion inside. Of course. Thank you. Okay, so doing nothing but lying got us our good ending, right? So I'm going to assume then that the bad ending is going to be nothing but the truth. And the neutral ending is probably going to be like a balance of them both. So let's just do constant truths. So, what I tell the truth about why we parted ways? Honesty is the only path, even if it's strewn with my own failings. Acknowledging where I went wrong is the first step to moving forward, isn't it? The job was tough,
No two ways about it. Worked till the wee hours. Lots of nights. Wasn't just me though. A lot of us did. Then one time, I just conked out right there at my desk. No clue how it happened. One minute I'm working, the next, I'm being shown the door. It all went down so quickly. The memory of being let go, it's all a blur, honestly.
Okay.
Okay, employment gap. The truth has its own stark clarity. The veil of fiction feels too weighty to drape over my narrative. My last position was in an industry that's, well, not exactly booming. I was part of a small team making video games, a niche within a niche. I hit the job market aiming to stick with gaming, but it's been a tough sell lately. So, I've widened my search, you know? I'm up for new challenges, willing to learn. Just looking for a place where I can dedicate myself, really dive in. Once, I was all about the gaming life. Now, I just want to work, to be part of something.
Success in this interview would lead you to the position of a sales specialist.
Let's tell the truth about our experience then.
Now's the moment to sift through my memories for anything relevant.
A buddy of mine owns this quaint little shop. They deal in fresh produce and fruits. There was a time I had to step in for him, just temporarily. Clearly, I'm not seasoned in sales. But that's not to say I can't pick it up. I'm quite keen on embracing new experiences.
It's not uncommon for firms to look for fresh slates, people they can shape in their ways. Could I be the blank canvas they're looking to paint upon?
Okay, critical decision makings. We've had none.
Crafting worlds within the digital realm is a feat of Sisyphean proportions. Indeed, the quandaries I've braved may appear trivial to the uninitiated bystander. With a hesitant resolve, I mustered the courage to speak. My tenure in the realm of game creation was fraught with trials. A tug of war ensured between the vision of our financer and the heartbeat of our creative cadre. It was an arduous balancing act, attempting to serve two masters and fulfill a duo of visions. Amidst this, the project's form morphed repeatedly, each iteration leaching our collective spirit. The most harrowing choice? To crown my own creative spirit and align with the financer, all the while preserving the essence of our initial dream. You know the sad thing is that most of the time when companies or creatives do have to bow to the financer, it ruins the product. I mean, let's face it, it's very rare that the person that finances these things is actually the target demographic. It's like when big studios demand changes to movies. Like, chances are it's made it worse. I just approve of the creatives. Such a concession was nothing short of a torment to my creative soul. Very well.
Okay, to disrupt the schedules. The undercurrents of her question are clear, yet I must tread carefully, the truth as my compass. May I speak candidly, Miss Takemitsu? The prospect of persistent overtime is somewhat troubling to me. I understand that extraordinary circumstances require extra efforts to meet objectives. Yet, habitual overtime might suggest deeper systemic issues within the organization. Moreover, adequate rest can be a crucible for innovation and maintain a sharp focus on work. Thus, my preference leans towards a balance, steering clear of chronic overtime where feasible. Such honesty may not align with her expectations. Nevertheless, I stand by my conviction voicing my sincere stance on this delicate matter.
We've noted your perspective.
Okay, multiple employment roles. I don't approve. This inquiry strikes a chord, piercing the veil of a prevalent concern. Indeed, Miss Takemitsu is delving deep, exposing the core of a modern dilemma. Balancing several projects concurrently was a taxing experience for me. I understand the rationale. Financial needs drive people to stretch their limits. Yet I harbor concerns about the toll that dual employment exacts on an individual's time and vitality. Such a strain can diminish focus and degrade life quality, ultimately impacting one's health adversely. And who better to understand this than someone in my shoes? In an ideal world, one would commit to a singular path and cultivate depth within it. Alas, time is an unyielding and finite master, with but 24 hours to dispense daily.
Understood. Here's my final query.
Okay, bonus acquisition. It concerns me. The prospect of a bonus is certainly appealing. Yet, the notion of succumbing to corporate pressure is far less enticing. My commitment is to achieve the objectives within the allotted work schedule, but not at the expense of my personal well-being or time. I am to maintain a sustainable pace that supports both the company's goals and my team's needs. I previously stretched myself too thin, and what was the yield? Now, it's essential to prioritize a more balanced approach. I believe in my ability to navigate challenges, but with deliberation. Progress, measured and steady, is the key.
We've concluded our discussion. That completes our assessment for the sales specialist role. I have no further inquiries.
May I ask about the next steps?
I will now proceed to communicate the outcome.
So swiftly?
Indeed, the dialogue has provided sufficient insight to determine your fit for our team.
I had been truthful to the extent of my abilities. I always believed that honesty could carve a path through any fortress of falsehood. I hope that Miss Takemitsu would recognize and value that. Yes, perhaps I'm not the quintessential candidate, but I am reliable and earnest.
Mr. Heishmer, do you even grasp the gibberish you're spouting?
The previously icy Miss Takemitsu's tone was abruptly turned, tinged with an unsettling fervor. Excuse me, what are you implying?
I've been meticulously monitoring how you respond to my inquiries, and I must express my disappointment. It was a catastrophe. Tell me, how can one be so unbearably truthful? You didn't even fib once, did you? And you genuinely believe that this honesty would aid you?
Huh? What's going on here? I was completely baffled by the unfolding events. Miss Takemitsu seemed to grit her teeth with every word she spoke, as if each sentence she formed was a laborious task. As though it pained her physically to utter these statements. Miss Takemitsu, is everything all right with you?
Is everything all right with me? What do you think,
I was at a loss for words.
Decided to try a fresh tactic, did we? Tenji, you know how I detest all this.
What did I do to deserve this?
Why must you treat me this way?
To confess my confusion would be an understatement. Something drastic had happened to Miss Takemitsu. I wasn't even sure I was still dealing with Miss Takemitsu. It was as if she was possessed by some sort of monster. As though the thought crossed my mind, I noticed her transformation wasn't just behavioral. Her visage was distorting. A new set of eyes began to emerge from her flesh. She resembled a more gelatinous abomination than a human being.
This is your doing.
Petrified, I witnessed the impossible become reality. Meanwhile, Miss Takemitsu, or whatever she had become, loomed closer.
Thank you for coming in. We'll be in touch. Congratulations. You've passed the interview. You're hired.
Her words dripped with irony as she stretched each syllable.
Did you expect a different outcome, Kenji? Surely not this one.
Her laughter was deafening and manic. I was in shock by the unfolding nightmare. I needed to flee her office, yet my body refused to cooperate. The situation was sheer madness, beyond comprehension. As my mind raced for an escape, I failed to notice her encroaching presence.
Is she gonna eat me?
She bore no resemblance to the woman I had met.
Kenji!
My name emerged from her, once a symphony of human irritation, now a guttural snarl. Paralysis gripped me, action remained a distant concept. Could this be the conclusion of my tale? I am definitely going to get eaten.
Oh, Kenji, you seem even more appetizing than usual.
I think I was eaten. Okay, so hopefully this is going to be our last ending. So I did do a mix of truth and lies.
We've concluded our discussion. That completes our assessment of the sales specialist role. I have no further inquiries.
May I ask about the next steps?
I will now proceed to communicate the outcome.
So swiftly?
Indeed, the dialogue has provided sufficient insight to determine your fit for our team.
My mind raced to fabricate the right narrative. The job was crucial, and I'd bend my story slightly if needed, just a slight embellishment. Did Mr. Kimitsu notice the finite? Did I convey the depth of my need convincingly? Because the need was dire. I gave it my all.
Let's recapitulate. You were summoned unexpectedly to this interview, and you've navigated the surprise admirably.
Promising start?
I trust you found your responses satisfactory. However,
But wasn't it sufficient?
your performance isn't quite what we anticipate from a prospect for the sales specialist role. We seek someone dependable, yet capable of thinking outside the mundane when the situation calls for it.
Wait,
We're in pursuit of someone with experience, yet unmarred by conventional approaches for the unique challenges we present.
wait, hold on. So you're seeking a walking contradiction, which is probably why they wanted me when I was lying, huh? This isn't happening.
We value honesty, yet we also require someone who can navigate complexities with finite.
This can't be happening.
Do you comprehend, Mr. Heshimir?
The floor turned to quicksand beneath me. Her words were like cascade, unbelievable as they hit me. I really tried. Here's my first interview after so long. And is this an immediate dismissal? But for what reason? What does she mean by those oxymoronic requirements? Who are they looking for? Where did I falter? Why does this always happen to me? Will there be another chance? Is this the end? I felt a swoon coming on, utterly staggered by her verdict. I thought I was braced for rejection, but in truth, I hadn't entertained the thought. I was simply in the right place, the right moment. A random choice brought me here. Was the decision predetermined? Certainly not.
Mr. Haishima, this concludes our encounter.
Please, no.
Your time and effort today are appreciated.
Please, not those words. Spare me the dreaded cliché.
We'll call you back.
And there it was. Meant to be the words of hope. Yet, they snatched it away instead. I knew the call wouldn't come.
So wait, based on that bad ending, it kind of seemed like she knew us, right? Like we'd encountered her before? Curious. If you've enjoyed your time here, I'd really appreciate you to like this video and subscribe to this channel. But other than that, it's spooky day and I'll catch you next time, guys.